I purchased a refurbished Canon HF G30 from the Canon store, Canon Direct, and I'm going to unbox it today and just see what type of condition it is in. So it was a pretty good deal. I saved probably $300 or more on this camera. So I'm just curious to see what the refurbished model is compared to the brand new model. And I bought a brand new Canon HF G20 a few years ago, so I've got both of them. And then I'll compare the size difference between the two and a couple of the differences in the camera itself. All right, it's packed very well. That's it there. Let's take a look inside here. It says refurbished on the label. It's sealed, so let's cut that open. Alright, so right on top we've got the standard operating manual and the 2 discs. Which I guess is the full manual, and something else there. Alright, so it doesn't come in the box that I got like my G20, the new model, but all the parts are packed in here nicely. Maybe this is the standard box for the G30. I really don't know. This is the lens hood, which is just like the G20. So it's got the little flapper there, and that looks brand new. Alright, here we've got all the accessories, it looks like, boxed into this. What is that? This is a battery for the remote, so a brand new battery for the remote. Not exactly sure what that is. This is our charger. And it looks brand new. That paper. This is the plug-in, whatever you want to call that, the cord to the electric outlet. Here's our battery. Not a scratch on it. Looks brand new. The remote. It also looks brand new. And then we've got our HDMI cord inside there. I'm not going to unbox that because I'm probably not going to use it. I've got plenty of other ones. And then we've also got our USB cord. I'm not going to unbox that either because I've got plenty of those. And then the TV cables. You can hook it directly to your TV, which I'm going to leave that in the package as well. It all looks brand new. Now let's take a look at the camera, which is packed in here nicely. Get rid of the box. And it looks brand new as well. I don't see a single scratch on it. LCD screen is crystal clear. No scratches or smudges on that. It looks excellent. We've got the lens cap on here. The lens is, if you can see that, crystal clear, not a smudge, not a scratch, not anything, which I wouldn't expect there to be a scratch on it since it is refurbished, but it is certainly not used, which that's kind of what I was afraid of, that I was going to get a used camera that they just made sure worked and sent out. But this could be considered a brand new camera. If they put it in fresh packaging, I don't think anybody would know the difference, because I can't tell. Alright, so let's put this on. Let's put our battery in and see if there's enough charge in here where it'll turn on. Well, unfortunately there's not enough charge in the battery. Tell you what I'll do, I'll plug it in real quick and see if it comes on. Here is our power cord DC adapter, whatever you want to call it. Alright, there we go. We got some bells and whistles. Okay, your standard setup here. Set the time and date. Alright, so no memory card, which I knew that would happen because I don't have one in there. But it comes on and it's working, so I'll have to get some video with it this week, give it a try, and then I'm going to compare the low light capabilities between this one and the G20. Now I know it's only a few minutes because I've seen the video that from both cameras, low light situations in hunting, from my videos, my experience with the G20, and my staff, my team members' experience with the G30. About half of us use the G20 and half of us use the G30, so just seeing the footage that they were sending me of the guys that use the G30, I can tell you the images are a little bit more crisp between the G20 and the G30. Here's my G20, so if you just look at the size difference between the two, I'll line them up to the camera there. You can see the G30 is a little bit bigger. The biggest difference between these two cameras is the 20 times zoom on the G30 versus the G20. But again, both of them take great footage. The G30 is just slightly crisper, and the low light capability of the G30 will give you a couple more minutes possibly on stand filming in low light or early morning. So anyways, that's the biggest difference between the two. The other cool thing about the G30 that I like is the two receivers on top, where the G20 just has the one. The rear one on both of these, oops, turn that on. The rear one on both of these is the mini jack. So to mount a standard shotgun mic or light or whatever you're going to attach to this thing, you'll need an adapter, a mini shoe adapter. So you can get those on Amazon, or Campbell Cameras has those. That's where I got this camera, this original G20. And then you've got the second one up front here on the G30, which is cool. Again, the G20 doesn't have it, so a lot of the guys are mounting their shotgun mic. They have a smaller mic that they'll mount up front here, and then in the back, you know, their light or their wireless mic. So it's pretty handy. It's pretty nice. It's just a little bit bulkier, a little bit wider than the G20. The G30 is a little bit wider than the G20, but for the most part they're the same camera, other than the 20 times zoom. And this one has a little bit bigger or better processor, so, and that's why your images are a little bit more clear. I'm not an expert on the technical side of these things again, but it's just what I see from the footage that I'm getting from the G30 and the G20. They're both great cameras. I would highly recommend either one of them for use with what I do, because that's my experience, which is videoing our hunting experiences, our hunting adventures, whatever you want to call it, videoing our hunts. So anyways, there's the differences between the two. The G20, this is my extended life battery, which this is just a standard battery that came with the G30, so I'm going to I'll be getting the extended life battery for that one as well. But they're about the same length. The 30 is just a little bit longer. just slightly, but and that's due to the 20 times optical zoom, which the lens is a little bit bigger, so that's really the only difference there. But it is a little bit wider, slightly heavier. But these cameras are great. I mean, they're compact, they're lightweight, and they take great footage, so they're perfect for dragging in the woods with you. The controls are set up just a little bit differently. As far as the on-off button, the zoom is different on the G20. It's right here on this, on the end here, right in front of the mini shoe jack, and on the G30 here, it's this little toggle switch, so zoom, wide, and our controls are a little bit different where your inputs are. On the G30, it's right here on the front on this big flap. That's something that I really don't like about this camera, is that giant flap. Whereas the G20, your flap access to everything is just right under this, and it just opens up nicely. And if it happens to be raining just a little bit or misting, that doesn't allow any water to get down in there, because that kind of serves as a hood. But this one is, everything's exposed, and this feels like it. I don't guess any of the guys, their flap is broken off, but it feels like it will just break off, but maybe not. Again, I don't think any of the guys, their cameras have, but both of them have a remote, the LANC remote, which is very important when you're videoing your hunts, especially solo camming it. So both of them have that input. They really have the same features. Again, other than the 20 times zoom, which is huge. Oh, the other thing is the G30 is 60 frames per second, can record in 60 frames per second, where the maximum on the G20 is 30 frames per second. So if you want to do if you want to slow your footage down a little bit, the G30 will do a better job, just because of the higher frame rate, faster frame rate. What else? Let's see here. Oh, and the G20 has a hard drive in it, a 32 gig hard drive, and then it has 2 slots for 32 gig SD cards. The G30 does not have a hard drive, but 2 SD card slots, and I believe they'll accept a 128 gig card. I know it'll accept a 64 gig card. I'm talking broadheads here, grains, but I know it will accept a 64 gig card. I think it'll accept a 128 gig card in each one of these slots, but I don't know for sure. But so you actually can get more record time with the G30 than the G20. So I guess that's about it. Again, not an expert, but I know these are great. Both are great cameras when you're doing what we do, which is videoing our hunts. So highly recommend these cameras. I don't have a whole lot of experience with many others other than some of the Sonys, the AX1000, and I like both of these models better. There are professional models of these two cameras, which is the XA10, which is the professional model, kind of the G20. It's got the 10 times zoom, and the XA20 and the XA25, which is a step up from the G30. I think it's a similar camera as far as the 20 times zoom and some of the other things, but the biggest difference that it comes with is the handle on top, which has your 2 XLR ports. But you can get accessories. You can accessorize these to have them do the same thing. So I'm sure there's other things, which again I don't know, but if you're just wanting to casually video your hunts, I would certainly recommend these two cameras. And from what I can tell, you can save some bucks on the refurbished model there at Canon. So, because this one looks brand spanking new. So, anyways, hope this helps for anybody looking for information on getting a camera to video their hunts. Good luck. Enjoy.